Om. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Gurureva Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Vyapyat Sarvam Trailokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vedyadravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Jai Guru. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we're continuing to make our way through the 7th chapter. And what shloka are we on?
Number 64.
Number 64 in the 7th chapter. Can you help us out, please, Puneet? Yeah. Is Ganesh online this evening?
Yeah, I'm here, Jim.
Hari Om, Ganesh.
Hari Om.
Yadyapi tamasi yatra vyapyam no che prigopita tathapyannam pranamati vicharya sthala muktavan. Though Varuna, father of Bhrigu, did not teach him by means of the text, quote, that thou art, he taught him the doctrine of the 5 sheets and left him to his discriminative inquiry.
So here the idea is, what is it that delivers the goods? What's the methodology here? It's not necessarily that we need to have a particular Mahavakya. You are that. The methodology here, he says, is the discrimination between the self and the not self. Meaning, we clearly examine what we are not. His reference here is to the Panchakosha. If you can see it, if it has qualities, if it has characteristics, if it comes and goes, if it occurs in time and space, if it's confined to the waking, dream, or deep sleep state, or some altered mind state, that isn't it. So, Annamaya Kosha, the physical body. When you're a child, you had a little body. You went through adolescence, the body changed. You became a young adult, the body changed again. Those of us who are older, the body changes again. But I know the changes in the body. It occurs in time and space. It's confined to the waking state. It has qualities and characteristics. It is changeable. And most importantly, it is knowable. Pranamaya Kosha. So we're going to go in depth into the prana in our Saturday morning class, the Prashna Upanishad. So we have energy in its various forms in the body. Perhaps you are studying Kriya Yoga or Kundalini Yoga, Raja Yoga, and you're doing pranayama. So you feel the prana moving. Maybe it's lighting up your chakras. Oh, the energy is blocked here. Oh, it's flowing very well there. But I know energy. Energy has qualities. It has characteristics. Though it's subtler than the physical world, still it is an object of cognition. Right, not the prana. Manomaya kosh. The mind is the world is the mind. My judgments, my feelings, my rajas, desires, aversions, envy, jealousy, regret, all those sorts of things. But whatever those feelings are, I love the word emotion. Emotion with movement. Isn't that an interesting word? But whatever the feelings are, I know them, not self. Vijnanamaya kosha, the intellectual sheath, the residence of the karta, the agent, the buddhi, the intellect, plus the chit-chaya, the reflection of consciousness, or what here Vidyaranya is going to call chidabhasa, the reflection of consciousness in the subtle intellect. Thoughts go by like your hand in front of your face. And this is where it becomes very subtle to discriminate between the idea of self, I'm Jim, and the real self. Drop. Finally, the Anandamaya Kosha. I watched this video today and sayings of Anandamayi Ma. She talks about yogis who go into what she calls a swoon. I have no idea what I assume she's talking in Bengali. But essentially laya, going unconscious. Another form of the Anandamaya Kosha. Deep sleep, swoon. That's not it. They feel good. And then the Shisha says, oh, Guruji, having negated the 5 koshas, there's nothing left. By what instrument then is the self to be known? And the Guru says, oh, Vidwan, learned one, clever are you in your ability to discriminate. This is exactly the shloka we covered on Thursday. First, you are Swayam Jyoti, self-known, self-luminous. The pramana, the means of knowledge for knowing the self. is the self itself. In a subtle intellect, realize you are not a person, you are not the body, you are not a feeling, you are not the agent. You are, here the word he uses, kutastha, chidaka, in that subtle intellect. Oh, it lets go of its firm conviction, I am the body, and sees, no, aham brahmas, birthless, changeless, deathless. This is the methodology. Next verse.
अन्नप्राणादिकोशेषु सुविचार्य पुनः पुनः आनन्दव्यक्तिमीक्षित्वा ब्रह्मलक्ष्माप्य युयुजत. Bhrigu considered carefully the nature of the food sheet, the vital sheet, and so forth. He saw in the bliss sheet the indications of Brahman and concluded, quote, I am Brahman. Oh, actually, I think I missed. No, never mind.
All right?
Yeah.
So, what does he understand in the bliss sheet? In the beginning, I encourage people to translate the word ananda as no sorrow reaches there, because the self is not a feeling. I'm waiting to get blissed out so I can experience the self. No. Start with understanding you are the eternal factor. You are that silence, that still point, like the center of the cyclone. And why do we call it ananda, bliss absolute? Because as we examine our experience of the Anandamaya Kosha, we see that when the mind gives up its vikshepa shakti, satisfaction of a desire in deep sleep, the suffering goes away. The mind then becomes blissful. This is a state of Chidabhasa. The mind reveling in the self. So there's a miserable creature hating their lives, which is unbearable. And then Ama, Anandamayi Ma, this great saint. There's something that's the same in them and something very different. The self in Anandamayi Ma is the same as the self in the miserable creature. What's different? Her mind is and again, this is not just paroksha jnana. Oh, I've read the scripture, I understand. The self and Brahman are one, the self is bliss. Yes, I understand that. Now I think I'll have another scotch and water and maybe smoke a joint and then hit the people I don't like. Then you're fooling yourself. You're fooling yourself. You have only paroksha jnana. What do you mean? I can quote the scripture. And it means nothing. The Hebrew psalmist says, taste and see the goodness of the Lord. Oh, the woman or man of wisdom knows the world is trinkets and baubles. It's shunyata, void. Easily the mind can come home and revel. Because the self is bliss absolute, the mind can be blissful, can be at peace, can be content, can be fearless. Detachment is a natural state. It's nothing we have to practice. Along, if I turn the burner on the stove on and the burner's flaming away, does it take you any great austerity to not put your hand on the burner? No. Why?
Because I know it burns when I put my hands on it.
But a 2-year-old? Oh, they do not know. So you and I too frequently do not know. Oh, more, better, different, more, better, different, more, better, different. Gimme, 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 gimme. Wham! It's not what I wanted. Just like the 2-year-old putting their hand on the burner. Except we're more stupid. Because the 2-year-old probably only needs to do it once. You and I do it for lifetimes. Until finally we get it through our thick skulls. The cause of the suffering is sangraha, attachment, kama, craving, jiva bhavana, this insistence I'm a person that's so fragile I need to be protected and defended. All rooted in ignorance. Next verse.
Satyam jnanam anantam chet evam brahma swalakshanam uktva guha hitatvena kosheshveta pradeshatam. The Shruti first speaks of the nature of Brahman as truth, knowledge, and infinity. It then describes the self hidden in the 5 sheets.
So first we learn that Brahman is. Remember, we have indirect knowledge, paroksha jnanam, and aparoksha jnanam, direct knowledge. First, the Shruti describes the self. Brahman is the ground of being of the whole universe. Its nature is existence, knowledge, and infinity. And it even says the self is Brahman. And you and I, oh, that's very good. It's the self, wherever that self is. little gray ball with wings. It must be this little Brahman. But no, then we must take up the scripture passages that discriminate between the self and the non-self. Go, let go. Just like Shankara said on Thursday. Oh, Vidwan, learned one, clever are you, subtle are you in your capacity to discriminate. Now, the self, to be the witness of the five sheets, it needs no other instrument. It is its own means of knowledge. Realize this truth in a very subtle intellect. Then that very subtle intellect realizes its own fundamental unreality. The mind itself quits believing itself. The mind sees that its habituated extroversion is the problem. Let it go. Any thoughts on this? Next verse.
पारोक्षेण विबुद्धेन्द्रो य आत्मेत् यादिलक्षणात् अपरोक्षी कर्तुमिच्छन् चतुर्वारं गुरुं ययौ. Indra acquired indirect knowledge of Brahman by studying its attributes. He then went to his teacher 4 times with a view to gain direct knowledge of the self.
So here, Indra did that. It's in Cana. That's where Indra goes. You see Brahman, who then disappears. That's a wonderful section in that allegory in Cana Upanishad. So first we get indirect knowledge from the Guru, from the scripture, from YouTube. One of the things a Guru can help us do, if we have sadhu sangha, the association of the wise, well, first we get the paroksha jnana of the Indra. But then if we can attune to the mind of the teacher, mind gets very quiet, still. Then the teacher says, who are you? Many, many different ways. And then we get the aparoksha jnana. Oh, it's so peaceful. It's so pure. There's no person there. Just that vast empty space. Even though so it's just cool. Next verse.
आत्मा वा इदमित्यादौ परोक्षं ब्रह्म लक्षितम् अध्यारोपापवादाभ्यां प्रज्ञानं ब्रह्म दर्शितम्. In the Aitareya Upanishad, an indirect knowledge of Brahman is imparted by such texts as, quote, there was only Atman before creation, end quote. The Upanishad then describes the process of superimposition, and negating it shows that consciousness is Brahman.
So again, the problem we have is adhyasa. In this Vijnanamaya kosha, I superimpose upon the self the not self. Even though I am Satchidananda, I think I am the body, or the body plus the subtle body, the transmigrating soul. And then I superimpose on the world. I externalize the qualities of the self. I think the couch exists apart from me. I think Nilam exists separate from me. Chit, I think Punit is a conscious being other than me. And then Ananda. Oh, I really like Nilam, and when he goes away, I'm so sad. There's the Ananda over there. All Anyonya Adhyasa, mutual superimposition. I superimpose upon the self the qualities of the not self, and I superimpose upon the not self the qualities of the self. Now, this is subtle. Truth is, what we call the not self is the self. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma, all this is verily Brahman. When I say I superimpose the qualities of the self on the not self, it means I externalize it. I don't have happiness. It's out there. That's the adhyasa. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, next verse.
अवान्तरेण वाक्येन परोक्षा ब्रह्मधि भवेत् सर्वत्रैव महावाक्य विचारात् अपरोक्षधीः. An indirect knowledge of Brahman by the intellect can be gained from other Shruti passages also, but direct knowledge is achieved by meditating on the great sayings of the Shruti.
So we can get indirect knowledge from various scriptural passages. There's lots of them. The direct knowledge doesn't come from just reading Shruti. We have to send our mind in the direction. That's what you call it. Sending our thoughts along the rails of thinking implied by the scripture. It is an inquiry, a specific kind of experiential inquiry we must do. Who am I? Next verse.
Brahma paroksha siddhyartha mahavakyam itiritam vakya vritta vato brahma aparokshe vimat vimatir nahi. In Vyakya Vritti, it is said that the great sayings are intended to give direct knowledge of Brahman. There is no doubt about this fact.
So Bhakya-vritti, he's quoting Adi Shankara, which is an exegesis, a deep explanation of the great Mahavakyas. Prajnanam Brahma. Brahman is consciousness. Paroksha Jnanam, indirect knowledge. I am Atma. Yes, I am Atma, Brahma. This self is Brahman. Okay. I think I get that. Yourself is Brahman. No. Tat Tvam Asi. You are that. Oh, Guruji, you're fibbing. I'm a miserable worm. So this third Mahavakya is called the Upadesha Mahavakya. Upadesha means teaching, it means instructional. What's implied in it is this discrimination between the self and the not self, the negation of the five koshas. But that's not all of it. Now we have to investigate this world. That's got major methodology that the scriptures give us is to see that the phenomenal world comes about sankalpena, by means of imagination. The world is like a very long and very vivid dream, where we see the great teaching on this is in Gaudapada's Karika, his exegesis on the Mandukya Upanishad, his gloss, that's a better word, second chapter. When he goes through all the reasons why I'm convinced that the dream state is unreal, he goes poof in the morning, basically. And then I examine all the reasons I think the waking state is real. And knocks him down, knocks him down, knocks him down. Until I come to the insight. The phenomenal world is unreal. And the proof of its unreality is that it is seen. Only the seer is real. This gives us the ability to start to dial down our reactivity to the phenomenal world. The more detached we become, the thinner the phenomenal world seems. And in time, it too will disappear just like that Ahankriti did. It's not real. Seen, but not real. Next verse. Oh, then the last Mahavakya, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. Not I know Brahman, not I'm a Mahatma, I'm a Swami. I'm not this body. I'm not any form of self. All of the jivas are just characters in Ishwara's great dream. I am the immovable witness of the drama. Next verse.
Alamba tanaya bhati yosmat pratyaya shabdayoho anta karana sambhinna bodha satvam padabhidha. Quote, in that thou art, thou denotes the consciousness which is limited or circumscribed by the adjunct, the inner organ, and which is the object of the idea and word I.
So when we start our inquiry with that thou art, you are that, is modern English. When I think of thou, I tend to think of it as the antakaranas, the word he's used here, the inner equipment, the personality, meaning, sense perceptions, feelings, thoughts, experiences, conclusions, ideas of self. And the vasanas. That's who I think I am. Either the body only or the body plus that antakarana. But when I see all the elements of the antakarana are in fact jada, inert, they are anatman, they are not self, they are knowable elements. When I see there's no me, no individuality, no jiva bhavana, it falls. Something there is that remains. That's that. Going on.
Mayopadhir jagadhyoni sarvajñatva dilakshanaha parokshya shabala satyat atmakastat padadhidah. The absolute consciousness conditioned by the primeval ignorance, Maya, which is the cause of the universe, is all-knowing, etc., and can be known indirectly, and whose nature is truth, knowledge, and infinity, is indicated by the word that.
So, in my indirect knowledge, I believe in God. I have faith in God. The scriptures tell me about God. Sometimes I, Jim, get feelings of God's presence. I have conscious contact with God. In a lot of Western 12-step groups, the only thing you need to know about God is you're not it. At one level, that's very good. Helps us to surrender. I can't, he can, I think I'll let him. One level of our practice, that's a good idea. But But the one thing you need to know about God, I am Atma, Brahma. The self is God, not your ego. Next verse.
प्रत्यक्परोक्षैकस्य प्रत्यक्परोक्षतैकस्य सद्वितीयत्वपूर्णता विरुध्येते यतस्तस्मात् लक्षणा संप्रवर्तते. The qualities of being mediately and immediately known and those of existence with a second and absolute oneness are incompatible on the part of one and the same substance. An explanation by implication or what is called an indirectly expressed meaning has therefore to be resorted to.
So, if it says, I am God, if I think of God as Super Daddy, who's running the universe, and if I think of me as the little worm who struggles, the Mahavakyas is absurd. So I have to let go of the external meaning and go for the implied or subtle meaning. I call it the cosmic striptease. So I have a physical body. The infinite has a physical body, the Jagat, the creation. Not that. The infinite is the cause of the physical universe. But no. I have a subtle body, thoughts and feelings, but I am not that. The infinite has Hiranyagarbha, the total mind. But that's not God. God is the cause of Hiranyagarbha. I have a causal body. I have asanas. The infinite has a causal body. The name we got for the infinite causal body, Saturday morning. Prajapati, the creator. Ishvara, Brahma, the creator God. But that is the first manifestation of Maya. I am not the causal body. What is beyond Prajapati, the creator God. I am Sakshi, I witness. Chidakash, the space of consciousness itself. And that Brahman, which is consciousness itself, which is the ground of being of the whole cosmos. They're not similar. They are the same. Next verse.
तत्त्वं स्यादि वाक्येषु लक्षणा भागलक्षणा सोऽयम् इत्यादि वाक्यस्थ पदयोरिव नापरा. In sentences like that thou art, only the logical rule of partial elimination is to be applied, as in the terms of that is this, not others.
Yes.
That is, sorry, this goes on. That is, in this is that Devadatta, we negate the attributes of time and place, both present and past, and take into account only the person himself. Similarly, in the text, that thou art, we negate the conflicting attributes such as the omniscience and the limited knowledge which characterize Ishvara and Jiva respectively, and take into account only the immutable consciousness.
That was an awful lot packed into just one 2-line shloka. Anyway, what he means is Devadatta is John Doe in Sanskrit. It like a person. So Nilang, tell me again what you do for your day job.
I work for a biotech.
You work for a biotech and you do empathy presentations to government agencies, right?
Correct.
Now, how does your girlfriend Gretchen see you?
As a boyfriend?
Uh-huh. Now, which are you? Are you the biotech engineer or are you a boyfriend?
Depends where I am.
Yes. Yeah. So in order to know Nilang, we have to disregard the adjunct biotech person, empathy presenter, and boyfriend, and see, oh, this boyfriend is that Nilang who works in biotech. That's the process that he's talking about. Likewise, this consciousness which illumines the body, mind, intellect, vasanas. And that consciousness, which is the ground of being for Prajapati, the total mind, Hiranyagarbha, and the whole Vaishwanara, the waking state world, they are the same. That's the logical process he's talking about. All right. Clear on that? Thank you for being our Devadatta. Next verse. By the way, what the Devadatta means is gift of the gods. It's kind of neat. Not much nicer than John Doe. Okay, go ahead.
Sansargo va vishishto va vyakyartho natra sammatah akhandai karasattvena vyakyartho vidushamatah. The relation between the two substances, thou and that, should not be taken as that of one qualifying the other or of mutual qualification, but of complete identity, of absolute homogeneity. That is, the meaning of the expression according to competent persons is, quote, what is thou is wholly and fully that, and that which is that is wholly and fully thou. Both the terms indicate absolute homogeneous consciousness.
So they are transitive, like both sides of the equal signs. Meaning, I, Jim, am not going to get close to God. I, Jim, am not going to change into a more godlike person. Likewise, God doesn't change into Rama, Krishna, Jesus, Buddha. The self in everyone is the same. Not bunches of similar cells. One self, Kevala, alone, as the support, the substratum, the very essence of all phenomena. All that differs is the usefulness of the various equipments in this dream. If you think you're a person, even a very great person, then you do not know. If, on the other hand, you know through direct experience, aparoksha jnana, I have none of these, and neither is anybody else. The only thing that's alive, that has bhava, being, is consciousness. Everything else is little lumps of energy and matter wiggling around, which are essentially jada, inner. Next verse.
प्रत्यक् बोधो य आभाति सोऽद्वयानन्दलक्षणः अद्वयानन्दरूपश्च प्रत्यग्बोधैकलक्षणम्. What appears to be the individual conscious self is of the nature of non-dual bliss, and non-dual bliss is no other than the individual conscious self. So Brahman is self and self is Brahman.
Yes. So even though aham brahmasmi, I am Brahman, if the mind is under the influence of avidya, though that be the truth, I do not know it. That's the only thing that happens. There is no other bondage than this ignorance and the subsequent misapprehension that takes place in the Vijnanamaya kosha. It never even really covers the self. The self is never really occluded. It just appears that way to my mind. When are you ever not you? You had a miserable day. I had a miserable day today. Did you cease to exist? No, of course I existed. What was your existence? Misery. Did you know your misery? Oh, God, yes. I'll give you a litany of my miseries. That's not necessary. But whatever the list is, did you know every single one of them? I did. Did you disappear in the middle of the list? No. So you are, you shine. The Ananda is occluded, but not the sight. It's never occluded. It's the most obvious thing in the whole universe. And for some reason, we cannot see it. How powerful is Maya? Next verse.
Ittha Manyonya tadatma pratipatti yada bhavet abhrahma tvamarthasya vyavarteta tadaiva hi. When by mutual identification it has been irrefutably demonstrated that the consciousness within and Brahman are same, then the notion that Jiva, who is denoted by the word Tao, is different from Brahman at once disappears.
Yes. So I start with who sees the phone or who sees the glass. I do. Tell me who you are. I'm Jim. I was born in 1948. Now I'm old and fat. I have a forgetful mind. I live in Oakland. I have a master's degree in music. Qualities of the body, qualities of the soul. But then the scriptures say, okay, get quiet, thin out the mind a bit, and let's go looking for this person you think you are. Oh, yes, I am solidly Jim. I have qualities. Introvert mind. I am not the body. I am not the prana. No, I'm the knower of all these qualities. They are not me. Oh, I'm the illuminator of all these ideas. They are not me. I am not the idea of self because I can see the idea of self. Not go on. Who am I? Oh, marvelous. Vast and empty. Without any dirt or taint or form or quality or color. No beginning, no end. Where did that Jim go? I don't know, but I'm not concerned about it now. Don't believe me. Don't believe Vidyaranya. Look. And our bodies are different. Our feelings are different. Our thoughts and memories are different. But the self in me, self in you, it's the same. One conscious being, keeping all these equivalents. Imagine you're a little person inside a great big clay jar with a lid on it outside. Look around inside the jar, you see a light here, you see a light there, you see a light here, you see a light there. Oh, look at all these lights outside. Take off the lid. Just light everywhere. It just seemed like a bunch of lights. So I was inside the jar looking at the little holes. All that happened. Next verse.
तदर्थस्य च परोक्षक्ष्यं यद्यैवं किं ततः शृणु पूर्णानन्दैकरूपेण प्रत्यग्बोधो वितष्टते. Then the indirectness in the knowledge of Brahman, implied by the word thou in the text, also vanishes, and there remains only the consciousness within in the form of absolute bliss.
Yes. So with the negation of the five koshas, with the negation of the phenomenal world, the limited notion of thou and the limited notion of that dissolve. We see they are in fact the same. If this is still only an idea for you, the key is renounce. Keep letting go of attachment. Keep letting go of identification. Keep thinning the mind. Next verse.
एवं सति महावाक्यात् परोक्षज्ञानं कीर्यते यस्तेषां शास्त्रसिद्धान्त विज्ञानं शोभते रताम्. Such being the case, those who suppose that the great sayings can give only an indirect knowledge of Brahman furnish brilliantly shallow understanding of the scriptural conclusions.
So, if you think that the Guru and the scriptures can only give you an indirect knowledge, that's not really true. Vedanta is what we call a Shabda Praman. It's a means of knowledge through words. If we do it right, it's a gestalt. It takes a guru who's well established in Brahman. It takes a student who is adhikari, fit. And then the scripture itself is a bridge, a setu. And what we do is we get you tuned up so that you have a direct experience of yourself as this consciousness. And then we tell you what you're experiencing while you're experiencing it. And if you've been successful, then the aha. Oh. That's the magic and the power of this Pramana, this means of God. All right, next one.
आस्तां शास्त्रस्य सिद्धान्तो युक्त्या वाक्यात् परोक्षधिः स्वर्गादिवाक्यवन्नैवं दशमे व्यभिचारतः. Doubt. Let alone the conclusion of the scriptures, the knowledge which the scriptural statements give of Brahman can only be indirect, like that which they give of heaven and so forth. Reply. This is not invariably so, for the statement, thou art the 10th, leads to direct knowledge.
Yes, so here the doubter is, no, I think you only get indirect knowledge from the Guru and from the scriptures. And here he says, that's not always the case. It's sometimes the case. And what's the variable? How subtle the mind of the student. So remember the story about the 10 boys. They're in a boat crossing the river. The boat capsizes. They all struggle to shore. And then, have we lost anyone? Count, somebody count. And they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh my God, one of us is missing. Well, maybe I counted wrong. You count. And the other boy goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, there's only 9 of us here. And then somebody comes along and says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I see what happened. You didn't count yourself. So again, count the boys you see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now remember to count yourself. Oh, I am the 10th. If the sadhu sangha, the association with the wise, has done its job, you take the indirect knowledge, Brahman is, the self is, it is consciousness. And then you inquire into yourself like you're the 10th. Oh, it's me. You are that. So it can deliver up paroksha. Now, sometimes we don't really get it, or we just get glimpses. And it's in the white heat of our own meditation at home that the knowledge dawns, or on a retreat or something. But we remember the words of the Guru, the words of the scripture, and they direct our. Any thoughts on this? Next verse. Oh, yeah, we can do one more.
Swato paroksha jivasya brahmatvam bhivanchatah nashyetsi dva parokshatvam iti yuktam aharshyato. Every man's knowledge of himself is a direct experience. It is indeed a remarkable argument to suggest that in our attempt at identification of ourselves with Brahman, this direct knowledge already present will be destroyed.
Yes. So, I'm afraid I'm going to disappear. Although I quit being me. Right now, you are you. How many times do I do this? Who sees the phone? I do. That's yourself. That's a direct experience. We don't get another self. What we get rid of is wrong thinking, false identification, the hypnotism of ignorance. But you remain as you. the end. It's the most ordinary, simple awareness of your ordinary waking state. When you ever know you? The doubt is, well, what is that you, that me, that twam? That's what sadhana reveals. You don't get a new self. You get rid of the stupidity of superimposition. All right, we'll end here tonight. What verse are we on for next week?
82.
82. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Hari Om.